Unexpected inheritance. Jack Foster stared at the imposing law office building, his hands shaking slightly as he gripped the crumpled letter. The summer heat beat down on the bustling city street, but Jack felt a chill run through him. This had to be some kind of mistake. 2 days ago, he'd been living his ordinary life, working a dead-end job at the local electronics store, barely making rent on his tiny apartment. Now he stood on the precipice of something that threatened to upend everything he thought he knew about himself and his family. Taking a deep breath, Jack pushed open the heavy glass doors and stepped into the air-conditioned lobby. A receptionist eyed him warily as he approached. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice clipped and professional. "I'm here to see Mr. Winters," Jack said, holding out the letter. "I have an appointment." The receptionist's eyes widened slightly as she glanced at the letterhead. "Of course, Mr. Foster. Please follow me." Jack trailed behind her through a maze of plush corridors, trying not to gawk at the opulent surroundings. This place was a far cry from anywhere he'd ever been before. Finally, they reached a set of ornate wooden doors. The receptionist knocked softly before ushering Jack inside. Mr. Foster, a distinguished older man, rose from behind an enormous desk, extending his hand. "I'm Bartholomew Winters. Thank you for coming on such short notice." Jack shook the lawyer's hand, acutely aware of his own rumpled appearance. "Nice to meet you, sir. I have to admit, I'm a little confused about why I'm here." Mr. Winters gestured for Jack to take a seat. "I understand your confusion. This must all seem quite sudden. I'm afraid I have some rather extraordinary news for you, Mr. Foster. News that may be difficult to believe at first." Jack's heart raced. What kind of news? The lawyer leaned forward, his expression grave. "It concerns your grandfather, Archibald Foster." "My grandfather," Jack frowned. "I never knew him. He died before I was born." "That's what you were led to believe," Mr. Winters said softly. "The truth is far more complex. Your grandfather was a remarkable man, Mr. Foster, a visionary who changed the course of human history, though few know his name." Jack's head spun. "I don't understand. What are you talking about?" Mr. Winters opened a drawer and withdrew a thick folder. "Your grandfather was a pioneer in interstellar relations. He established the first diplomatic and trade agreements between Earth and several alien civilizations." For a moment, Jack could only stare at the lawyer in stunned silence. Then he burst out laughing. "Okay, I get it. This is some kind of prank show, right? Did my buddy Mike put you up to this?" But Mr. Winters' expression remained deadly serious. "I assure you, Mr. Foster, this is no joke. Your grandfather's work was highly classified. Only a handful of people on Earth know the full extent of his accomplishments." Jack's laughter died away as he realized the lawyer wasn't kidding. "But that's impossible. Aliens? Interstellar trade? That's the stuff of science fiction." "I'm afraid the line between fiction and reality is about to blur considerably for you, Mr. Foster," Mr. Winters said. He slid a document across the desk. "Your grandfather left explicit instructions in his will. Upon reaching your 25th birthday, you were to be informed of your true heritage and offered the chance to claim your inheritance." Jack's eyes widened as he scanned the official-looking document. The legalese was dense, but a few phrases jumped out at him. Transfer of all holdings, multiple properties across several star systems, significant technological and financial assets. "This can't be real," Jack whispered. "I'm afraid it's very real," Mr. Winters replied. "And there's more. Your inheritance includes not just wealth and property, but a wife." Jack's head snapped up. "Excuse me." The lawyer shifted uncomfortably. "Your grandfather entered into a political marriage to cement an important alliance. Upon his death, the terms of that arrangement transferred to his heir, you." Jack felt like he might pass out. This was too much to process. "So you're telling me I've inherited an alien fortune and an alien wife?" Mr. Winters nodded solemnly. "Her name is Zara. She's a member of the Lyrian royal family. Brilliant, by all accounts, and eagerly awaiting your arrival on her homeworld. Jack slumped in his chair, struggling to breathe. His entire world had just been turned upside down in the span of a few minutes. "I know this is overwhelming," Mr. Winters said gently, "but I'm afraid time is of the essence. There are parties who would very much like to prevent you from claiming your inheritance. For the sake of galactic stability, it's imperative that you travel to Lyria as soon as possible to formalize your position." Jack's mind reeled. Leave Earth, travel to an alien world, marry a space princess. It was insane. And yet, a small part of him thrilled at the idea. His life had been so mundane, so unfulfilling. Here was a chance at real adventure, at making a difference on a cosmic scale. "What if I say no?" he asked quietly. Mr. Winter's expression darkened. "Then I'm afraid the carefully crafted alliances your grandfather built would crumble. Earth could lose valuable interstellar trading partners. And you, well, let's just say there are those who would go to great lengths to acquire what you've inherited." Jack swallowed hard. It seemed he didn't have much of a choice. "When do we leave?" The lawyer smiled, relief evident on his face. "A ship is waiting to transport you to Lyria. We can depart immediately." As Mr. Winters made some calls to arrange their departure, Jack stared out the window at the familiar cityscape. In a matter of hours, he would be leaving it all behind, perhaps forever. Fear and excitement warred within him. He thought of his dreary apartment, his dead-end job, his lack of real direction or purpose in life. Maybe this insane inheritance was exactly what he needed, a chance to become something more, to make his mark on the universe. Jack took a deep breath, squaring his shoulders. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he would face them head-on. His grandfather had changed the course of human history. Now it was Jack's turn to carry on that legacy. "I'm ready," he said as Mr. Winters returned. "Let's go meet my alien wife." The journey to the spaceport passed in a blur. Mr. Winters had arranged for a sleek black hovercar to whisk them out of the city, evading the watchful eyes of the media and any potential threats. As they sped along, the lawyer filled Jack in on some of the details of his new life. The vastness of his inherited fortune made Jack's head spin. Entire planets' worth of resources, cutting-edge technology beyond human understanding, political influence spanning multiple star systems. "Your grandfather was a visionary," Mr. Winters explained. "He saw the potential in forging alliances with advanced alien civilizations. Thanks to him, humanity has taken its first steps onto the galactic stage." Jack nodded, trying to wrap his mind around it all. "And this marriage, to Zara? What's that all about?" The lawyer's expression grew serious. "The Lyrians are a proud and ancient race. Your grandfather's marriage to a member of their royal family was a masterstroke of diplomacy. It cemented Earth's most important interstellar alliance. But now that responsibility falls to me," Jack said quietly. "Indeed, I won't lie to you, Mr. Foster. This won't be easy. You'll be thrust into a world of high-stakes politics and alien cultures. But I believe you have it in you to rise to the challenge. Your grandfather clearly saw great potential in you." Jack wasn't so sure, but he appreciated the vote of confidence. As the hovercar crested a hill, he gasped at the sight before him. A massive structure dominated the landscape, sleek and silver, utterly alien in design. "Is that?" Mr. Winters nodded. "Your grandfather's private spaceport, the ship that will take you to Lyria awaits." They passed through layers of security, each more advanced than the last. Jack marveled at technology that seemed straight out of science fiction: retinal scanners, force fields, AI systems far beyond anything publicly available on Earth. Finally, they emerged onto a vast landing pad. Jack's jaw dropped at the sight of the ship that would carry him to the stars. It was beautiful, all sweeping lines and gleaming metal, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. A small group awaited them at the base of the boarding ramp. As Jack approached, his eyes were drawn to one figure in particular. She was undeniably alien, her skin a pale lavender, her eyes large and luminous. but she was also breathtakingly beautiful. "Jack Foster," she said, her voice musical and strange. "I am Zora of House Bexalia. Welcome to your new life." Jack swallowed hard, suddenly acutely aware of his rumpled appearance and utter lack of preparation for this moment. "It's, nice to meet you." Zora's lips quirked in what might have been amusement. "I'm sure this is all quite overwhelming for you." "Rest assured, I will do my best to guide you through the transition." Jack nodded gratefully. Despite the bizarreness of the situation, he found himself drawn to Zora. There was an intelligence in her eyes, a quiet strength in her bearing. "We should depart immediately," one of the other aliens said, his tone urgent. "Our sensors have detected unauthorized craft approaching." Mr. Winters cursed under his breath. "It seems our enemies have caught wind of the situation sooner than anticipated. Mr. Foster, I'm afraid this is where we part ways. Remember what I told you. The fate of multiple worlds now rests in your hands. Good luck." With that, the lawyer turned and strode away. Jack watched him go, feeling a moment of panic. He was really doing this, leaving behind everything he'd ever known, jumping headfirst into an alien world of intrigue and danger. But as he looked at Zara, at the wonders of alien technology surrounding him, Jack felt a thrill of excitement cut through his fear. This was his chance to be part of something greater, to make a real difference in the universe. Taking a deep breath, he stepped onto the boarding ramp. "All right," he said, mustering all the confidence he could. "Let's go save the galaxy." Zara's luminous eyes sparkled with something like approval. As the ramp raised behind them and the ship's engines hummed to life, Jack knew his life would never be the same. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he would face them head-on, for the sake of Earth, for the alliance his grandfather had built, and for the extraordinary future that now stretched out before him among the stars. The ship lifted off, streaking into the sky with impossible speed. Jack watched the review screen as the Earth rapidly shrank away, his heart pounding with a mixture of terror and exhilaration. He was leaving behind everything he'd ever known, embarking on an adventure beyond his wildest dreams. As the blue marble of his homeworld faded to a tiny speck, Jack turned to face his new reality, and the alien wife who would be his partner in shaping the destiny of multiple worlds. Whatever came next, he knew his life would never be the same again. Cosmic diplomacy. The starship Celestial Voyager glided through the shimmering expanse of hyperspace, its sleek hull pulsing with otherworldly energy. Inside, Jack Foster stood transfixed before a massive viewing window, watching in awe as reality itself seemed to bend and warp around them. "Magnificent, isn't it?" Zora's melodious voice startled him from his reverie. Jack turned to find his alien wife, a concept he was still struggling to wrap his head around, standing beside him. Her lavender skin seemed to glow softly in the ethereal light of hyperspace. "It's incredible," Jack admitted. "I never imagined I'd see anything like this." Zora's lips curved in a small smile. "There is much wonder in the universe, Jack Foster, and much danger. Are you prepared for what awaits us on Lyria?" Jack swallowed hard. In the whirlwind of their departure from Earth, he'd barely had time to process the monumental changes to his life, let alone consider the challenges ahead. "I'm not sure anyone could be truly prepared for this," he said honestly. "But I'm willing to learn, to do whatever it takes to honor my grandfather's legacy and keep this alliance strong." Something flickered in Zara's luminous eyes, approval perhaps. "That is a wise attitude. Come, we have much to discuss before we arrive." She led him to a sleek conference room, where a holographic display sprang to life at her touch. Jack gasped as a stunningly detailed map of the galaxy materialized before them. "This is incredible," he breathed, reaching out to touch one of the glowing star systems. To his amazement, it expanded, revealing planetary bodies and swirling nebulae in exquisite detail. "Your grandfather's technology," Zara explained, "far beyond anything publicly available on Earth. This map contains real-time data on political alliances, trade routes, and potential threats across thousands of star systems. Jack's mind reeled at the implications. And all of this is part of my inheritance. Zara nodded sullenly. Along with the responsibility of maintaining the delicate balance your grandfather worked so hard to achieve, there are forces in the galaxy that would very much like to see that balance disrupted. As if on cue, an alarm blared through the ship. The holographic display flickered, zooming in on their current location. Jack's blood ran cold as he saw multiple red dots converging on their position. "We're under attack," Zara said, her voice calm but urgent. "Hostile ships, likely mercenaries hired by rival factions. They seek to prevent us from reaching Lyria and formalizing your claim to the Foster legacy." Jack's heart raced. "What do we do?" Zara's eyes gleamed with a fierce determination. "We fight. Your grandfather's ship is more than capable of defending itself, but we'll need to work together." She guided Jack to a control panel unlike anything he'd ever seen. "These are the weapons systems. I'll pilot, you focus on keeping our pursuers at bay." Jack's hands hovered uncertainly over the alien controls. "I don't know how to." "Trust your instincts," Zara interrupted. "The systems are partially telepathic. Visualize your intent, and the ship will respond." Taking a deep breath, Jack closed his eyes and focused. To his amazement, he felt a connection forming, as if the ship itself was an extension of his own body. When he opened his eyes, the control panel pulsed with energy, responding to his thoughts. The next few minutes were a blur of adrenaline and cosmic spectacle. Zara's piloting was nothing short of miraculous, weaving the celestial Voyager through a storm of enemy fire. Jack found himself acting on pure instinct, unleashing salvos of energy weapons that crackled with otherworldly power. Working in perfect synchronization, they managed to fight off the attacking ships. As the last enemy vessel fled into hyperspace, Jack slumped back in his chair, exhausted but exhilarated. "That was intense," he managed, his voice shaky. Zara gave him an appraising look. "You performed admirably for your first space battle. Perhaps there is hope for you yet, Jack Foster." Before Jack could respond, the ship shuddered violently. Alarms blared once more as the viewscreen filled with a swirling vortex of energy. "What's happening?" Jack shouted over the cacophony. Zara's expression was grim. "A trap. They've activated a quantum singularity, pulling us off course. Brace yourself." The celestial Voyager was sucked into the vortex, reality twisting around them in mind-bending ways. Jack felt like his very atoms were being pulled apart and reassembled. Just when he thought he couldn't take any more, everything went black. When Jack regained consciousness, he found himself lying on a cold metal floor. Groaning, he pushed himself to his feet, taking in his surroundings. They were no longer on the celestial Voyager, but in some kind of alien structure. Zara lay nearby, stirring weakly. "Are you all right?" Jack asked, helping her up. Zara nodded, her eyes scanning their environment. "We appear to be in a Zethrak containment facility. This is not good." Zethrak. A warlike species, enemies of both Lyria and Earth. If they captured us, the entire alliance could be in jeopardy. Zara's voice was tight with worry. As if on cue, a door slid open with a hiss. 3 imposing aliens entered, towering, reptilian creatures with gleaming scales and eyes that burned with cruel intelligence. Well, the lead Zethrak hissed, its voice sending chills down Jack's spine. The hair of Archibald Foster and his Lyrian bride. How fortunate for us. Jack stood protectively in front of Zara, his mind racing. He was just a regular guy from Earth, thrust into an interstellar conflict he'd barely understood. But as he faced down these alien captors, he felt something stirring within him, a strength and determination he never knew he possessed. "Listen," he said, forcing confidence into his voice. "I don't know exactly what's going on here, but I do know this. My grandfather built something important, something that benefits all our species. Whatever you're planning, it's not too late to choose a better path." The Zethrak leader laughed, a harsh, grating sound. Bold words from such a primitive creature. Perhaps we should show you the true nature of the universe you so recently joined. As the aliens advanced, Jack tensed, ready for a fight, but Zara placed a hand on his arm, her touch sending a jolt of energy through him. Suddenly, he felt the ship's telepathic systems connecting with his mind once more. Understanding dawned. They weren't as helpless as their captors believed. Together, Zara whispered. Jack nodded, closing his eyes and focusing his thoughts. He felt Zara's consciousness merging with his own, their combined will reaching out to the very fabric of the alien facility around them. The Zethrak stopped short, confused by their captive's strange behavior. But it was already too late. With a thought, Jack and Zara activated hidden systems within the containment cell. Force fields sprang to life, trapping the surprised aliens. How? The Zethrak leader sputtered. This is impossible. Jack allowed himself a small smile. Apparently not. Now let's talk about that better path I mentioned. As alarms blared and confused shouts echoed through the facility, Jack realized this was only the beginning. He had a lot to learn about this new universe he'd been thrust into, about the power he'd inherited and the responsibilities that came with it. But looking at Zara, seeing the mix of surprise and approval in her alien eyes, Jack felt a surge of confidence. Together, they just might be able to navigate the treacherous waters of interstellar politics and forge a lasting peace. The adventure was only beginning, and Jack Foster, once a simple retail worker from Earth, was ready to take on the entire galaxy. Galactic revelations. The Zethrak containment facility buzzed with chaos as Jack and Zara made their daring escape. Alarms blared, and confused shouts echoed through the labyrinthine corridors. Jack's heart pounded as he ran alongside his alien wife, marveling how quickly his life had changed. Just days ago, he'd been a nobody working a dead-end job. Now he was fleeing alien captors and trying to prevent an interstellar war. This way, Zara hissed, pulling Jack into a shadowy alcove. Her luminous eyes scanned the area, alert for any sign of pursuit. There's a hangar bay nearby. If we can commandeer a ship, we might have a chance. Jack nodded, trying to catch his breath. I still can't believe we managed to turn the tables on those Zethrak. How did you know about those hidden systems? Zara's lips curved in a sly smile. I didn't, but I suspected your grandfather would have safeguards in place. The Foster legacy is full of surprises, Jack. You're only beginning to scratch the surface of its potential. Before Jack could respond, a squad of Zethrak soldiers rounded the corner. Their reptilian faces contorted with rage as they spotted the escapees. Run, Jack shouted, grabbing Zara's hand and sprinting towards the hangar bay. Energy blasts sizzled past them, leaving scorch marks on the metallic walls. Jack's muscles burned as he pushed himself to the limit, driven by pure adrenaline and the desperate need to survive. They burst into the hangar bay, a cavernous space filled with sleek alien vessels. Jack's eyes darted frantically, searching for their best option. There, Zara pointed to a small, agile-looking craft. That's an Ovarian stealth ship, perfect for our needs. As they raced towards the ship, a booming voice filled the hangar. Attention, humans and traitors. You cannot escape. Surrender now, and your deaths will be swift. Jack glanced back to see the Zethrak leader from earlier, flanked by dozens of heavily armed soldiers. The alien's eyes burned with hatred and something else, fear. They're more afraid of what we represent than of us, Zara murmured as they reached the ship. Quick, get inside. I'll handle the launch sequence. As Jack clambered into the co-pilot's seat, his mind raced. What did Zara mean? What was it about his grandfather's legacy that terrified these warmongering aliens so much? The ship's systems hummed to life under Zara's expert touch. Outside, the Zethrak opened fire, energy blasts pummeling the vessel's shields. Hold on, Zara shouted as she engaged the engines. The ship shot forward, smashing through the hangar's force field and into open space. Jack's stomach lurched as Zara executed a series of dizzying maneuvers, evading pursuing fighters. Stars streaked past the view screen as they pushed the ship to its limits. "We're not out of danger yet," Zara said grimly. "Our coordinates were scrambled by the quantum singularity. We're in uncharted space, and the Zethrak won't give up easily." As if to emphasize her point, the ship shuddered under enemy fire. Warning lights flashed across the control panel. "What do we do?" Jack asked, fighting to keep the panic from his voice. Zora's eyes narrowed in concentration. "There's a nearby system that might offer sanctuary. It's risky, but we have no choice. Initiating hyperspace jump in 3, 2, 1. The stars blurred into streaks of light as the ship plunged into hyperspace. Jack felt a moment of vertigo before the inertial dampeners kicked in. When reality reasserted itself, he gasped at the sight before them. A massive ringed planet dominated the view screen, its swirling atmosphere a mesmerizing dance of colors. But it was the structure orbiting the planet that truly took Jack's breath away. A colossal space station unlike anything he'd ever imagined. "The Nexus," Zora breathed, her voice filled with awe. "I thought it was just a legend." "What is it?" Jack asked, unable to tear his eyes from the magnificent sight. "A neutral ground for species across the galaxy. A place of trade, diplomacy, and," Zara hesitated, "secrets. If anywhere in the universe holds the answers we seek, it's here." As they approached the Nexus, Jack felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation. He had a feeling that whatever they discovered here would change everything, not just for him and Zara, but for the entire galaxy. The Nexus grew larger in the view screen, its true scale becoming apparent. The space station was a marvel of engineering, a sprawling metropolis suspended in the void. Massive docking arms extended like the petals of a flower, accommodating vessels of all shapes and sizes. "Unidentified ship, state your business," a voice crackled over the comm system. Zara leaned forward, her voice clear and commanding. "This is Zara of House Vexalia, accompanied by Jack Foster, heir to the Foster legacy. We seek sanctuary and audience with the Nexus Council." There was a long pause. Jack held his breath, acutely aware of the Zethrak ships that could be closing in on them at any moment. Finally, the voice returned. "Sanctuary granted. Proceed to Docking Bay 17. Welcome to the Nexus." As Zara guided their ship towards the designated bay, Jack marveled at the diversity of vessels surrounding them. Some were organic-looking, pulsing with bioluminescence. Others were geometric and angular, defying his understanding of physics. "I can't believe this place exists," he murmured. "How have humans never discovered it?" Zora's expression was somber. "The Nexus exists outside normal space-time. Only those with the right knowledge, or desperate need, can find it. Your grandfather knew of its existence, but kept it secret to protect Earth from forces it wasn't ready to face." They touched down in the docking bay, a cavernous space humming with activity. As the ship's ramp lowered, Jack took a deep breath, steeling himself for whatever lay ahead. "Ready?" Zara asked, her hand finding his. Jack nodded, surprised at how natural it felt to stand beside this alien woman he barely knew. "As I'll ever be." They stepped out into a riot of sights, sounds, and smells. Aliens of every conceivable form bustled about, some humanoid, others defying easy categorization. The air was filled with a cacophony of languages, most untranslatable to Jack's ears. A tall, willowy being with iridescent skin approached them. "Welcome to the Nexus. I am Silo, your guide. The Council awaits you." As they followed Silo through winding corridors and vast plazas, Jack's head spun with questions. But one burned brighter than the rest. "Zara," he said quietly, "what aren't you telling me? What's the real reason the Zethrak are so afraid of us?" Zora's luminous eyes met his, filled with a mixture of apprehension and hope. "Your grandfather discovered something, Jack. Something that could change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. The Zethrak and others like them fear it because it threatens their ability to wage war." "What is it?" Before Zora could answer, they arrived at an imposing set of doors. Silo bowed slightly. The Nexus Council will see you now. The doors swung open, revealing a circular chamber bathed in soft light. Seated around a grand table were beings of such diverse appearance that Jack's mind struggled to process what he was seeing. Some seemed to be made of pure energy, others were mechanical constructs, and still others defied easy classification. At the head of the table sat a figure that radiated ancient wisdom and power. Its form shifted constantly, as if unable to settle on a single appearance. "Welcome, Jack Foster." The being's voice resonated in Jack's mind rather than his ears. "We have long awaited your arrival. The time has come for you to learn the truth about your inheritance and the key to lasting peace in the galaxy." Jack swallowed hard, feeling the weight of countless alien gazes upon him. Whatever revelation awaited, he knew his life, and the fate of entire civilizations, would never be the same. The shifting being at the head of the table rose, its form coalescing into a vaguely humanoid shape. When it spoke again, Jack felt the words reverberate through his very being. "Jack Foster, heir to Archibald's legacy, you stand at a crossroads of cosmic significance. The knowledge your grandfather uncovered has the power to reshape the very fabric of galactic society. But with that power comes great responsibility and grave danger." Jack's mind reeled. He glanced at Zara, finding strength in her steady presence beside him. "I'm ready to hear the truth," he said, surprised at the conviction in his own voice. The being, which Jack now understood to be the head of the Nexus Council, nodded sullenly. With a wave of its hand, a shimmering hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. Jack gasped as he recognized the face of his grandfather, Archibald Foster. "Greetings, Jack," the hologram spoke, its voice eerily lifelike. "If you're seeing this, then you've taken the first steps on the path I laid out for you. I'm sorry for the secrecy, for the burden I've placed on your shoulders, but you must understand. What I discovered could either usher in an era of unprecedented peace or plunge the galaxy into chaos." The hologram shifted, showing a swirling vortex of energy. "This is the Harmony Matrix, a cosmic phenomenon of unimaginable power. It's the source of all faster-than-light travel, the key to instantaneous communication across vast distances. But it's more than that. The Harmony Matrix is sentient, Jack, and it's been waiting for someone worthy to unlock its full potential." Jack's head spun. "I don't understand. What does this have to do with me?" The hologram of Archibald smiled sadly. "Everything, my boy. The Matrix chose our bloodline as its conduits. You have the innate ability to communicate with it, to shape reality itself. With proper training, you could bring true harmony to the galaxy, eliminating the need for war, solving resource scarcity, healing rifts between species." "But the Zethrak and others like them," Zara interjected, "they fear this power. They profit from conflict and division." Archibald's hologram nodded. "Precisely. They'll stop at nothing to prevent you from fully bonding with the Harmony Matrix. That's why I arranged your marriage to Zara, why I built this elaborate inheritance. You'll need allies, Jack, and love to face the challenges ahead." As the hologram faded, Jack felt the weight of countless alien gazes upon him. The head of the Nexus Council spoke once more. "The choice is yours, Jack Foster. Will you accept your destiny as a conduit for the Harmony Matrix? Will you strive to bring balance to a fractured galaxy?" Jack closed his eyes, overwhelmed by the magnitude of the decision before him. He thought of his simple life on Earth, now forever out of reach. He thought of the wonders he'd seen, the vastness of the cosmos that now lay open to him. Finally, he opened his eyes, meeting Zora's gaze. In her alien features, he saw strength, compassion, and something else, a growing affection that mirrored his own feelings. "I accept," Jack said, his voice ringing with newfound purpose. "I don't fully understand this power yet, but I'll do everything I can to use it responsibly. To bring peace, not just for humanity, but for all species." A ripple of approval passed through the council chamber. The head counselor nodded solemnly. "Then let your training begin. But be warned, Forces are already aligning against you. The path ahead will be fraught with danger. As if on cue, alarms blared throughout the Nexus. A frantic voice came over the communication system. Multiple hostile ships detected, Zethrak war fleet approaching. Jack's heart raced, but he felt a strange calm settle over him. He turned to Zara, seeing his own determination reflected in her eyes. "Ready to save the galaxy?" he asked with a small smile. Zara's hand found his, their fingers intertwining. "Together," she replied. As they raced from the council chamber, preparing to face the oncoming threat, Jack knew that his greatest adventure was only beginning. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and he, Jack Foster, once an ordinary guy from Earth, now held the key to its future. The harmony matrix pulsed within him, a cosmic power waiting to be unleashed. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Jack was ready to face them, not just for himself, but for the promise of a united, peaceful galaxy. Quantum convergence. The Nexus shuddered under the assault of the Zethrak war fleet. Alarms blared as beings of all species rushed to battle stations. In the midst of the chaos, Jack and Zara raced through twisting corridors, their minds linked in silent communication. "We need to reach the Nexus core," Zara's thoughts echoed in Jack's mind. "It's our only chance to harness the full power of the harmony matrix." Jack nodded, marveling at how natural this telepathic bond felt. The harmony matrix pulsed within him, and cosmic energy eager to be unleashed. As they ran, reality itself seemed to bend around them, responding to Jack's awakening powers. They burst into a vast chamber dominated by a swirling vortex of energy. The Nexus core, heart of the station and nexus point for the harmony matrix itself, alien technicians worked frantically at control panels, trying to bolster the station's defenses. "Jack Foster," a familiar voice rang out. Jack turned to see Xylo, that iridescent guide, approaching with urgency. "The Council has granted you full access to the core, but be warned, merging with the Matrix at this level is dangerous. Few have attempted it and remained themselves." Jack swallowed hard, but his resolve didn't waver. "I have to try. The fate of the galaxy depends on it." Zara squeezed his hand. "I'll be with you every step of the way." Taking a deep breath, Jack approached the swirling energy of the core. As he reached out, tendrils of light danced across his skin. The chamber fell away, and Jack found himself floating in an infinite cosmos of pure possibility. "Where see I'm Jack Foster," the voice of the harmony matrix resonated through his very being. "Are you prepared to be thrown one with the cosmic symphony?" "I am," Jack replied, his voice echoing across realities. Suddenly, he was everywhere and everyone at once. He saw the birth of stars and the death of galaxies. He witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations across the vastness of space-time. And through it all, he felt the guiding presence of Zara, anchoring him to his humanity. With newfound clarity, Jack understood the true nature of the conflict threatening to tear the galaxy apart. He saw the threads of fear, greed, and misunderstanding that had led to this moment, and he knew exactly how to unravel them. Back in the physical realm, the Nexus rocked with another blast from the Zethrak fleet. But now, Jack stood tall, his eyes glowing with the power of the harmony matrix. He raised his hands, and reality itself bent to his will. The attacking ships froze in space, caught in a bubble of distorted time. With a gesture, Jack opened a channel to every vessel, every planet, every corner of the galaxy touched by the conflict. "People of the galaxy," his voice rang out, transcending language barriers, "I am Jack Foster, conduit of the harmony matrix. I come to you not as a conqueror, but as a mediator. I have seen the pain and suffering that has led us to this moment, and I offer a chance for true understanding." With a thought, Jack wove the threads of the matrix, creating a psychic link between all sentient beings. In an instant, every individual in the galaxy experienced a fraction of what Jack had witnessed, the hopes, fears, and dreams of countless others. The effect was immediate and profound. The Zethrak, feeling the terror they had inflicted on others, lowered their weapons in shame. Other species, long at odds, found common ground in shared experiences. "We stand at a crossroads," Jack continued, his voice resonating with cosmic power. "We can choose to continue down the path of conflict, or we can embrace a new way forward. The Harmony Matrix offers us the chance to build a truly united galaxy, where resources are shared and diversity is celebrated." As Jack spoke, the fabric of reality rippled around him. Barren worlds blossomed with life, while war-torn planets began to heal. Faster-than-light travel became as simple as a thought, and communication across vast distances instantaneous. "The choice is yours," Jack said, his voice gentle but firm. "But know this, the old ways of division and conquest are over. The galaxy is entering a new age of cooperation and enlightenment. Will you join us?" For a moment, silence reigned across the cosmos. Then, gradually, a chorus of voices rose in agreement. Species that had been bitter enemies for millennia laid down their arms. Worlds long isolated welcomed new neighbors with open arms. As the psychic link faded, Jack felt the enormity of what he had accomplished. He had reshaped the very nature of galactic society, ushering in an era of unprecedented peace and prosperity. Exhausted but exhilarated, Jack turned to Zara. Her eyes shimmered with tears of joy. "You did it," she whispered, pulling him into an embrace. "You've brought harmony to the galaxy." Jack smiled, feeling the warmth of her arms and the pulsing energy of the matrix within him. "We did it," he corrected. "I couldn't have done any of this without you." As they stood there, bathed in the glow of the Nexus core, Jack knew that his journey was far from over. There would be challenges ahead, new frontiers to explore, and a galaxy full of wonders to discover. But for now, he was content to savor this moment of triumph. Jack Foster, once an ordinary guy from Earth, had found his true calling among the stars. With Zara by his side and the power of the Harmony Matrix at his command, he was ready to lead the galaxy into a bright new future. The adventure was only beginning, and the cosmos itself waited with bated breath to see what Jack Foster would do next. Cosmic Renaissance. The galaxy held its breath in the aftermath of Jack's reality-altering proclamation. As the psychic link faded, a new era dawned, one of unprecedented cooperation and understanding. But with great change comes great responsibility, and Jack soon discovered that reshaping the cosmic order was only the beginning. Nexus controlled to Jack Foster, a voice crackled over the comm system. "We're detecting unusual energy fluctuations across multiple sectors. Your presence is requested in the observation dome immediately." Jack exchanged a worried glance with Zara. "So much for our moment of triumph," he quipped, though his tone was light. As they hurried through the bustling corridors of the Nexus, Jack marveled at the transformation around them. Species that had been mortal enemies just hours ago now worked side by side, their differences forgotten in the face of a greater purpose. The observation dome was a marvel of alien architecture, a perfect sphere of transparent material that offered an unobstructed view of the cosmos. As Jack and Zara entered, they found a gathering of the galaxy's greatest minds already in heated discussion. "Ah, the man of the hour," rumbled a being that seemed to be made entirely of sentient crystal. "Perhaps you can shed some light on this conundrum, Foster." Jack approached the central holographic display, his eyes widening at the swirling patterns of energy crisscrossing the galaxy map. "The Harmony Matrix," he breathed. "It's evolving." Zara leaned in, her luminous eyes narrowed in concentration. "These patterns, they're not random. It's almost as if the Matrix is trying to communicate," Jack finished. He closed his eyes, reaching out with his newfound abilities. The cosmic energy surged through him, and suddenly he understood. "It's not just communicating," he said, his voice filled with awe. "It's creating. The Matrix is using the combined will of all sentient beings to reshape reality on a fundamental level." A ripple of excitement passed through the assembled aliens. An avian being with iridescent feathers ruffled in agitation. But to what end? Are we witnessing the birth of a new universe? Jack shook his head, a smile playing at his lips. Not quite. It's more like an upgrade. The Matrix is enhancing our reality, making the impossible possible. As if to illustrate his point, the holographic display flickered. New star systems winked into existence, while barren worlds blossomed with life before their eyes. Incredible, Zara whispered. It's as if the collective dreams and aspirations of every being in the galaxy are being made manifest. Jack nodded, feeling the pulse of cosmic energy thrumming through him. The Matrix isn't just responding to our thoughts, it's amplifying them, turning imagination into reality. A hush fell over the observation dome as the implications sank in. They were witnessing nothing less than the rebirth of the galaxy, a cosmic renaissance fueled by the combined creativity of countless species. But even as hope and wonder filled the air, a note of caution crept into Jack's mind. With such immense power at their fingertips, how could they ensure it wasn't misused? As if sensing his thoughts, Zara placed a hand on his arm. "We'll face these challenges together," she said softly, "just as we always have." Jack smiled, drawing strength from her presence. He turned to address the assembled beings, his voice ringing with newfound authority. "Friends, we stand at the dawn of a new age. The Harmony Matrix has given us the power to reshape reality itself. But with that power comes great responsibility. We must be careful not to lose ourselves in the pursuit of perfection." He paused, letting his words sink in. "I propose we establish a new governing body, the Cosmic Council, not to control or restrict, but to guide and advise, to ensure that as we build this brave new galaxy, we don't forget the values that make us who we are." A murmur of approval rippled through the crowd. The crystalline being spoke up, its facets glittering. "A wise suggestion, Foster, but who will lead this council?" All eyes turned to Jack. He felt the weight of their expectations, but also the surge of confidence that came with knowing he wasn't alone. "Not me," he said, surprising many. "At least, not alone. This new galaxy belongs to all of us. The council should represent every species, every perspective. Only together can we navigate the challenges ahead." As the assembled beings broke into excited discussion, Jack felt a tug on his consciousness. The Matrix was calling to him, showing him glimpses of the wonders yet to come. He saw gleaming cities that defied the laws of physics, spacecraft that could traverse galaxies in the blink of an eye, and technologies that blurred the line between science and magic. But more than that, he saw people, countless beings of all shapes and sizes, working together to build a future brighter than any had dared to imagine. "Jack," Zara's voice brought him back to the present. "Are you all right?" He turned to her, his eyes shining with the reflected light of 1,000,000,000,000 stars. "Never better," he replied, taking her hand. "Ready for our next adventure?" Zara's lips curved in a smile that sent his heart soaring. "Always." As they stood there, overlooking the transformed galaxy, Jack marveled at how far he'd come. From a nobody on Earth to the catalyst for cosmic change, his journey had been nothing short of miraculous. But he knew that the greatest adventures still lay ahead. With Zara by his side and the power of the Harmony Matrix flowing through him, Jack Foster was ready to face whatever the universe had in store. The cosmic renaissance had begun, and its story was just waiting to be written.